Most people look at advanced woodworking projects and instantly feel like they're not ready. They see complex furniture, clean joints, perfect finishes, and assume it takes years of experience to get there. That belief alone is enough to stop progress before it even begins. But the truth is much simpler than it looks. Advanced projects are not difficult because they require some special talent. They feel difficult because most people try to build them without a clear path. When there is no clear path, every step feels uncertain. You start a project and suddenly you are guessing measurements. You're unsure about the order of cuts. You question if the structure will hold. That uncertainty creates hesitation, and hesitation leads to mistakes. Not because you are incapable, but because you were forced to make too many decisions at once. Think about assembling something without instructions. Even a simple object can become frustrating if you do not know what goes first. You might attach the wrong piece, realize it too late, and then have to undo everything. Woodworking works the same way. The complexity is not in the task itself, it's in the lack of clarity. That is why so many beginners get stuck when they try to jump into advanced builds. They believe the problem is skill, but the real problem is structure. Without structure, even simple actions become overwhelming. With structure, even complex projects become manageable. A good plan changes everything. It removes the need to guess. It tells you exactly what to do, in what order, and how to do it. Instead of thinking about 10 steps at once, you focus on one, then the next, then the next. Suddenly, what looked complicated becomes a series of simple actions. This is how advanced projects become simple, not by making them smaller, but by breaking them into clear steps. Imagine building a large dining table. At first glance, it looks like a big, intimidating project, but when you follow a clear plan, it becomes a sequence. First, you cut the legs, then you prepare the frame, then you assemble the base, then you attach the top. Each step is simple on its own. The difficulty disappears because you are no longer trying to hold the entire project in your head at once. That shift is powerful. It changes how you approach everything. Instead of thinking, this is too much, you start thinking, what is the next step? And that question is easy to answer when you have a plan guiding you. Another reason advanced projects feel hard is because people try to improvise too much. They start with a general idea and try to figure things out as they go. This might work for very simple builds, but it breaks down quickly as complexity increases. One small mistake early on can create bigger problems later. A cut that is slightly off can affect alignment. Misalignment affects structure. Structure affects stability, and suddenly the entire project feels wrong. This is what causes frustration, not the project itself, but the chain reaction of small errors. A well-designed plan prevents that chain reaction. It gives you exact measurements. It shows you how pieces fit together. It creates consistency. When everything is consistent, the final result feels solid and professional. Think of it like following a recipe. If you try to cook something complex without instructions, you will likely miss steps or use the wrong amounts. But with a clear recipe, even a beginner can create something that looks and tastes great. Woodworking is no different. The plan is your recipe. There's also a mental side to this that most people ignore. When you do not have a plan, your brain is constantly trying to solve problems. That drains energy, it slows you down, it creates doubt. But when you follow a plan, your brain relaxes. You are not trying to figure everything out, you are simply executing. That mental clarity makes a huge difference. It allows you to focus on doing each step well instead of worrying about what comes next. This is why some people progress much faster than others. It's not because they are more talented, it's because they remove confusion early. They follow systems that are already tested, they avoid unnecessary mistakes, and because of that, they build momentum. Momentum is everything. When you complete a project successfully, you gain confidence. That confidence carries into the next build. You move faster, you make fewer mistakes, and over time your skill improves naturally. On the other hand, when you struggle through unclear projects, you lose motivation. Each mistake feels like proof that you are not good enough. But that is not true. You are simply working without the right structure. One of the most powerful realizations you can have is this: Advanced woodworking is just basic woodworking done in the right order. There is nothing magical about it, no secret technique that only experts know. It's all built on the same fundamentals: measuring, cutting, assembling, and finishing. The difference is how those fundamentals are organized. When they are organized well, the result looks advanced. When they are not, even simple projects can look messy. Take something like a cabinet. It looks complex from the outside, but when you break it down, it's just panels, shelves, and a frame. Each piece is simple. The complexity comes from how those pieces come together, and that is exactly what a good plan shows you. It shows you how to go from individual parts to a complete structure without confusion. Another benefit of using the right plans is speed. Without a plan, you spend a lot of time thinking, correcting, and redoing work. With a plan, you move forward with confidence. You know your cuts are correct. You know your assembly order works. That saves time and materials. And saving materials is important. Mistakes cost money. Wrong cuts mean wasted wood. Fixing errors takes extra supplies. Over time, those costs add up. A clear plan reduces waste because it reduces mistakes. There's also a quality difference. When you follow a structured approach, your projects look cleaner. Edges align properly, surfaces feel smooth, the final piece looks intentional, not accidental. That is what makes something look professional. And when your work looks professional, something interesting happens. People start to notice. They ask where you bought it. They compliment the design. That external feedback reinforces your confidence even more. At that point, woodworking stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like progress. If you want to make this process easier, there's a resource in the description that puts all of this into practice. It's a collection of step-by-step woodworking plans designed to remove the guesswork completely. Instead of trying to figure out every detail on your own, you follow clear instructions that guide you from start to finish. If you prefer building with clarity instead of confusion, it's worth taking a look. Because the real goal is not to impress people with complex builds. The goal is to build with confidence. Confidence comes from knowing what you are doing, and that knowledge becomes much easier to apply when you are not guessing every step. There's also something deeper happening here. When you complete a project that once felt out of reach, it changes how you see yourself. You stop thinking of yourself as a beginner, you start seeing yourself as someone who can figure things out and create real results. That shift is powerful. It goes beyond woodworking. It affects how you approach challenges in general. But it all starts with making things simple. Not by lowering your standards, but by improving your process. Instead of asking, "Am I good enough to build this?" the better question is, "Do I have a clear plan to follow?" Because when the plan is clear, the path becomes simple. Focus on one step at a time. Trust the process. Follow the structure. Let each small action build on the last. That is how complex projects come together without stress. Over time, you'll notice something interesting. The projects that once looked advanced will start to feel normal, not because they became easier, but because you became more structured in how you approach them. And that's the real difference. Not talent, not expensive tools, just clarity, consistency, and the decision to stop guessing and start following a proven path.